What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Takeover with your girl, Shay McCray, here on Fubu Radio. And as y'all know, we are inside the room with State Representative Brandon McGee doing this thing this week. What's up, B?
What up? What up? How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, great weekend, but not as good as yours. I saw you on another boat.
Here we go.
Like you boating it every weekend?
Oh, you know, just about. I mean, you know, Connecticut is such a beautiful state, and one of the many hats that I wear. We went out to East Hampton. And it's sort of closer to Marlborough, Connecticut, and it was an Airbnb, and we found this little small island. It had about 7 different cabins on it.
Oh,
and
wow.
The men of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Beta Sigma Lambda chapter here in the state of Connecticut, city of Hartford, we had our board retreat, and it was something different. And what was funny, Shay, is all these black men out there on the island carrying these luggages as if we were going to like Jamaica somewhere. Very extra, but we have fun.
Wow, that's awesome.
No,
wow.
That's extra.
You think that's extra? Listen,
They're all extra.
I didn't even know they had Airbnbs out there.
Yeah, they do. So the owner actually, his house is on the main land, but he is connected to, I guess, the property. And so he owns an additional 5 acres of land. And I believe it was the Boy Scouts of America or Connecticut's property back in the day. And so he's fortunate to have it. But it was really nice. It was really nice.
Well, I'm just getting back from New York myself. I was up there. Well, actually in Jersey, I hosted a pop-up shop and Money Lynn pop-up shops. And what she do is she does these pop-up shops every month, these events, and it bring a bunch of entrepreneurs under one roof. And the concept, I've never been, but when I went yesterday, the concept is amazing. There's about 100 vendors and they're all entrepreneurs. I mean, when I tell you, these women create their own soaps, their makeup, their facial stuff, like and with labels of their own stuff. It was very inspiring yesterday. It was hosted by myself, Mo Money, Chinese Kitty. You probably don't know these people. They're Love and Hip Hop people.
I was gonna ask, so who are these people again?
Love and Hip Hop people, but the point of it is that so many women are really doing their thing during this time being an entrepreneur. There was also performances by Mo Money, who did her thing. She was phenomenal. And another guy by the name of Chi-Chi. And I told him I was going to talk about him on the radio today because the reason why is because so many artists and talent is never discovered. And I just want to just give them their roses while they're here. And they did a phenomenal job. So shout out to Money Lynn on the pop-up shop yesterday. It was amazing. And I'm back in Atlanta today. So
let me say this real quick, as I always do, and I don't want my guests to be offended. Thank you so much for joining Inside the Room with myself, State Representative Brandon McGee, where we discuss politics, leadership, and culture, and a little bit of gossip, which we do have today. But today we want to talk a little bit about back to school. Our kids are going back. Both my kids are going back this Wednesday.
Okay, so they start this Wednesday?
I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Well, we're going to talk about it, right?
Okay,
the whole COVID outbreaks. Shout out to all of the school districts and teachers that are safely preparing for the return of their students in about a year and a half. But as you can imagine, as a parent of 2 little girls, like many others, you have your concerns. So
of course, especially with them not being able to be vaccinated because they're under 12, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I can only imagine.
So I'm excited about that. And we have a couple folks that are inside the room today that will join us to give their perspective. So we have a superintendent, Dr. Terrell Hill, and we also have a college student by the name of my little brother, Daniel White, who is at Trinity College, a political science major with a minor in African American studies. So we'll hear from him as well. But Shay, I'm ready for the kids to go back to school. I can tell you that much.
Well, let's hear from Daniel. Let's see what he thinks, because I do know that a lot of people are fighting for the kids to get back in school due to missing their friends, wanting to want to interact with the students again. They're missing that social life. That you that's what we had growing up. So I can only imagine. So let's go ahead and welcome Mr. Daniel White to the takeover. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing well.
That's awesome. Congratulations on attending Trinity College and with your major African American studies. That's amazing. Let's talk about your studies. How things going?
Things have been fun.
Okay.
Things are difficult, but things have definitely been fun. I'm a political science major, minor in African American studies, and it's something I'm really passionate about. And something that means a lot to me. So it's been enjoyable.
Okay. Now, when you say difficult, let's get into that, because that's why we're here,
jump
right?
On in it.
Go ahead and get on right into it.
I think Daniel, before you jump in, Shay, it's important to know this dude is really, really humble, which I really appreciate about him. But he graduated a year early from high school.
Awesome.
He started college. He actually started at University of Hartford, correct?
Okay.
No, University of Connecticut.
Of Connecticut. Excuse me.
You better give him his UConn. You better don't play.
and now he's over at Trinity College here in the city of Hartford, which is an Ivy League school. And so I'm just really proud to watch this young man grow, but also be a leader. So let's talk about the challenges, man.
Yes.
Talk about the challenges.
Well, it's college, right? So class is always going to be hard. Pushing yourself and making sure you're achieving 3.8s, 3.7s, 4.0s, whatever it may be, making sure, you're actively trying to, build a social life, be a leader in your school life and in your community. It's a difficult balance. So it requires a lot.
Are you all required to be vaccinated? Is it a requirement, a mandate?
Well, it's semi-requirement, mandate. You can put in exemption forms, and some people have put in exemption forms, but most people have to get the vaccine to be on campus.
Let me ask you, are they allowing you to are some teachers saying, well, if you're not vaccinated, you can't attend this course?
Well, we don't know yet.
I was going to say that's a HIPAA violation.
Yeah.
If the teachers,
I would imagine.
I would hope so.
But as of right now, we don't know 100%.
Okay.
I know that on campus it says, we have to be vaccinated unless you have an exemption and proof of exemption. But for right now, we don't know.
But let's be honest. Do you think a lot of your college mates are actually following the rules in terms of wearing masks and social distancing? What's the struggle in that? Y'all still partying, right? What?
I'm going to be honest with you.
Please.
Probably not. Probably not. I know for me, I definitely still struggle. I'm young. So
I appreciate the honesty. Appreciate it.
Well, in my mind, it's just what is this really all about? Still trying to get better, still trying to, help people and help my community. But it's definitely been difficult, especially us as college students who want to be social and want to enjoy time with our friends. And, we're like, oh gosh, we only have 3, 4, 2 years. Let's get this done. And so it's been difficult, but
I can only imagine, because some of the activities has been taken away, correct? So you guys don't have the certain things that you would have that would bring you guys together, like certain social clubs and so forth. Are you a part of any of those clubs?
Well, as of right now, not yet. I was a student senator at UConn.
Okay.
But I ended up, I ended up giving up that seat in my transfer to Trinity. But more than anything else, a lot of that stuff, even when I was running for my student senate seat, it was all online. We couldn't knock doors. We couldn't really engage. No real events, no nothing. Everything was online. It was saddening. It was really saddening, because it's I want to be talking to people face to face. I want to be doing all this stuff. But
so has that changed? Has that changed a little bit in terms of your return now after a year of being away?
So definitely, yeah. We're able to have events now. We're able to actually engage with people. We're able to see our friends, talk to our friends, with a mask on sometimes and without a mask on sometimes. So it's a lot more close, face to face, more social contact, in comparison to the last year we had.
Let me ask this. So there are quite a few students returning to school, right? But specifically college.
I was going to ask, are they back in dorms?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions as well. So that's good to know. But so many students are returning back. What are some of the challenges or fears you think students might have returning back to school? Some students really don't have a choice. There are a lot of students who are homeless as a result of being sent home. And I've heard some horror stories, but now, again, we're a year and a half later. What are some of those challenges? And again, you're speaking to millions of people that are listening. What are some of those challenges and fears?
What I think one of the biggest challenges and fears that, I personally have, and I think it's, commonly held, is that I don't want to get sick.
Of course, right?
I don't want to be around somebody in class or, even in a friend group, people hanging out, whatever, in a party, whatever it may be. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get COVID. I don't want to have to be out for 2 weeks. I don't want to have to miss spending time with my friends, miss class time, miss social time, miss events, whatever it may be. I don't want to get sick. And I think that over everything else is, my biggest fear. And there's a lot of college students' fear.
From all over.
Yeah.
So I guess, in closing, we're going to be talking to a superintendent today. And he's going to share with us a little bit of the measures he's taken for his particular district. But there are a lot of school districts that are saying, their leaders that are saying, we are not enforcing a mask mandate. We don't care about it. As a matter of fact, if you even enforce it, we're going to take away your salary or resources to that particular district, i.e. Texas and Florida. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
That those anti-mask folks.
It hurts. I think it's a real disregard for, people's needs, and, what they might feel necessary for themselves. Especially I know that was happening in Florida where people were saying, or the governor was saying, no mask mandates, no nothing. And if you do, we're going to take away your salary, we're going to pull your salary. And you can see, cases rising. And I think 5,000 students last week were exposed to the virus because of that kind of, rhetoric. And so it's dangerous. I'm happy I go to a school that, make sure that, the COVID vaccine is important, and, they're really pushing that information. But I know for me, if I was going into a situation where people were like, no mask mandate, you can't say this, you can't do this, or we're pulling salary, and threatening people if they put a mask mandate on, I would be scared. I'd be scared. And I think a lot of parents in Florida and a lot of students in Florida should be scared and are scared right now.
Yeah. Well, I could only imagine, especially being a student of that body, that saying no mask required, and you feel like your health is at risk. Well, this is obviously the magic question of the day, and we must know, and you don't have to answer if you don't want, but are you vaccinated?
Halfway, 50%.
Oh, okay. Was it by choice, or did your parents or your family members, or because of the school requirements, push you to do so?
It was by choice.
Okay.
I wanted to get vaccinated. Of course, the school saying, you need to get vaccinated was something that I had in my mind. I procrastinate sometimes, and I wanted to find somewhere where I could get the J&J, one shot, one done, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I ended up getting Pfizer.
J&J. I think one of the things, and I know we're wrapping up, but one of the things, Daniel, can you just talk about your community outreach in terms of educating your peers and the many campaigns you've worked on to help educate people on the importance of getting vaccinated? Just really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what I've done. A lot of, video work, a lot of graphic work, whatever it may be, but a lot of campaigning to make sure people, especially in Black and Brown communities, are getting vaccinated, and that we're giving them equitable information, and that we're exposing them to resources that say, hey, this is this education, this is this information, this is what you need to know in case you are doubtful, in case you're being hesitant, whatever it may be. This is the information that we have. This is the information we want to share to you and break it down for you, so you might be able to make a better decision or a healthier decision and live a healthier lifestyle. I know for me, and I know for, you know, a lot of people in Black and brown communities, the reason why they might be hesitant, or the reason why they might be a little bit afraid, is because the information to them is kind of difficult to break down and kind of difficult to understand, especially with the mRNA vaccine, Pfizer, Moderna, all of this stuff surrounding it. It's very confusing. I've been confused. I know you guys probably have. And so just trying to break down that information, make it more palatable, and get people healthy.
Well, Daniel, I'm here to tell you that it's really because the FDA wouldn't stand behind it, just so you know. Okay. So
this is another conversation. Oh Lord.
That is the feedback I get from my people on why they're not vaccinated. So but
if you're just tuning in, you're hearing from Daniel White, a Trinity College student here in the state of Connecticut, political science major with a minor in African American studies, and also an advocate for those who will listen in terms of getting vaccinated, educating yourself, but most importantly, doing your homework.
Yep.
That part.
Daniel, why don't you go ahead and let the people know how they can keep up with you and your journey and things that you might have going on to help spread the word on the importance of being vaccinated.
So definitely, my name is at DAHNEEYUL, Danielle. That's how my mom says it, on everything.
Jamaican.
TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everything. My name is Danielle. I post, information, I post content, whatever it may be, it ranges, but that's me.
All right. Okay, well, that's him. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and giving your input. We appreciate it, and good luck with this school year. And we look forward to having you back halfway through to see how things are going. All right.
Thanks, Daniel.
All right. You guys keep it locked. It's the Takeover.
What's going on, y'all? Of course, I told you we would have another great interview, and I have it lined up. Of course, we've had two great brothers. The first guy we had, Dwight Holt, the celebrity fitness instructor, helping people to shape their lives and drop off those pounds. But I'm back here again with another friend of mine. But as always, I want to thank everyone for joining me inside the room as we discuss politics, leadership, and culture. Again, be sure to join us every Monday inside the room with myself, State Representative Brandon McGee. Be sure to download the official FUBU Radio app. That's FUBURadio.com, so you can stay up to date on what's happening for the culture, by us, all that good stuff. Y'all know the jazz. But as we prepare for the upcoming school year, there remains tremendous concern around safely measures and protocols to ensure students receive adequate educational resources while also preventing COVID-19 outbreaks. And y'all know we talk about that on the show a lot. Not outbreaks, but being vaccinated, the different strands, the importance of it, etc. And we also, accept those folks who really don't understand the importance of it. We seek to educate them. But anyway, another area of concern is the widening learning gaps that are consistently more pronounced after this particular summer and even after a year of being homeschool or distance learning. So we are now in the most critical time period amid the effect of school changes, amid COVID-19 on Americans or America's youth. And I would even go as far as to say even our young Black and brown children. Today we have Dr. Terrell Hill, Superintendent of the Windsor Public School System here in the state of Connecticut. And he is here to dissect, break down all of this stuff that I'm still learning about. This year, or rather last year, and Dr. Hill, he'll correct me, the Board of Education named Dr. Terrell M. Hill as the new superintendent of schools for Windsor Public Schools. Dr. Hill is widely recognized as a flagship leader in the field of education. He is known for his work in areas of equity, diversity, and inclusion, leadership development. I mean, he's just a trailblazer, y'all, for developing models for student success and achievement. He also is one of the proud mentors of a mutual friend of ours. And I'm just going to give him a little shout out, Brandon Frame, who's doing an amazing work there in the state of New York. Dr. Hill, he has a bunch of degrees, all this good stuff. And I want to leave a little space for him to talk about an organization that he established some years ago that's making major progress throughout this country, even here in the state of Connecticut. So Dr. Hill, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Representative McGee. It's always funny when people introduce you and the stuff they say. You know, the first thing I always say is like, yo, I'm just Terrell, and if my mom's here, my mom probably told me to go get a glass of water or something. Like, you get no props, you know? or take out the trash or something. Right. Like,
yeah. Dr. Hill, tell us a little. Yo, you're very important to us, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little more about yourself. How did you get started? How did you get to where you are today? Talk to us a little bit.
So first, well, I'm gonna start off and just preach a little bit. But God, I'm just gonna leave that right there for everybody. That's at the foundation. So I'm the oldest, right? Oldest of three boys, single mom for, pretty much the first half of my childhood till I was 11, almost 12. My mom is my superhero. She's a former police officer and has been a pastor for almost 30 years now, Pastor Gail Hill. So I always give a shout out to my mom because she's everything. Born in Brooklyn. My mom moved us out of Brooklyn when I was little before I started school on purpose. I just knew I was starting school in a few weeks. And she was like, nope, I was in Springfield, Massachusetts. And so I grew up in Springfield. I love my hometown. I tell people all the time, I grew up in Springfield and I'm a rep the 413 always. So school and educated in Springfield, Mass. I went into the Army after high school because I grew up in that amazing time called the Reagan era. So you could be middle class and be broke. So I went in the Army to get money for school, spent 3 years in West Germany and came back home, finished college in business. I majored in business and marketing, but
so you went to Westfield, right?
I went to Westfield State. It was Westfield State College. Now it's Westfield State University in Westfield, Mass. And I majored in business, but I felt called to be a teacher, and that's literally what I tell everyone. And so I went to the teacher fair. I said, I think I want to go south, get away from the winter. First booth I went to was Virginia. Newport News Public Schools hired me that morning. I didn't even do no interviews with nobody. I was done. Wow. Immediately. All the education majors was upset because they was all like, you go around to the booths in the morning and then you come after lunch and you do interviews. And it's like, who you interviewing at lunch? I said, nobody. I'm just going to walk around Boston till the van leaves. Because I actually had a contract. I was done, signed. So I started my career in Newport News Public Schools, taught 4 years there. I taught middle school math, and then of course, business, personal finance, entrepreneurship. I was blessed to get an opportunity to be a teacher on television. So I taught math on television. It was a program called Homework Television, 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays for a half an hour. It was incredible, it was cool. Came back, went to grad school at UMass Amherst where I earned my master's, my certificate of advanced graduate studies, and then ultimately my PhD in educational policy and leadership.
Wow. That's all I'm gonna say. So you served though, right? You served our country, right?
Yes, in the Army. I was in the U.S. Army.
I want to pull that out because you kind of skipped over that. You was like, I went here and then.
I don't know.
Oh, it's okay. I'll cut you off. It's okay.
Okay.
I'll cut you off.
So I served. I am a United States Army veteran, card carrying veteran, DD 214 veteran for life.
Wow.
That's why people see me at events, right? I don't do the pledge like this. I'm always saluting. That's me. That's how I feel as a soldier, and I'm just always going to do that. So, a veteran.
So I honestly, before we take a quick break, I want to jump in the conversation around re-entering our schools, mask mandates, etc. And I don't want to get too political at all, but I do want to just hear your thoughts really quickly about many of our nation's leaders banning masks, basically, or supporting mask mandates throughout their school districts. What are your thoughts, your immediate thoughts on that as a person who's leading a school district? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think that, I don't want to get political with this. I just actually sent a message out to my families. I believe that until we have this completely under control, that we should be wearing masks. So I have no problem with the governor's executive order. I just came back from Jamaica this past weekend, and they have to wear masks all over the country on the resorts. No one seemed to have a problem with it. Nobody was complaining, right? Travelers from all over the world, everybody, I met a lot of nice people. No one complained. I don't know why folks are acting like it's such an inconvenience when it's really to help your fellow man and woman stay alive, right? So if we have to wear a mask, then we wear a mask. And, I kind of flinch a little bit when I hear people talk about, well, the kids don't like it, the kid free. Actually, we don't have problems with students. It's
always the adults. It's us. It's adults.
Young people are wearing the mask everywhere without a problem. I see, my 3-year-old granddaughter, when, she puts her mask on, she doesn't even think about it, right? It's just what we have to do at this time. So it's unfortunate that we have leaders who have politicized people's health and ultimately their mortality by, banning. People can choose. That's America choosing, but I'm not banning anything. And
but Dr. Hill, it's a pandemic, right? And so, you know what? Let's do this. We're gonna take a quick break. For folks who are just tuning in, as you always do, coming on in, come on in inside the room. We get it. Thank you so much for being here. Again, share this information, y'all. Invite your cousins and them. Tell them to come inside the room with State Representative Brandon McGee. Keep it locked. Don't go nowhere. What's going on, y'all? Once again, it's another Monday here inside the room with State Representative Brandon McGee. We have none other than Dr. Terrell Hill, Superintendent of the Town of Windsor Public School System, and also founder and president of BLAC, which is the Black Leaders and Administrators Consortium Incorporated. And he also serves on numerous boards, etc. My brother got a very, very impressive resume, but if you were listening in right before we took a quick break, we were talking about mask mandates, etc. And Dr. Hill was sharing his perspective as a leader of his district. But Dr. Hill, as a parent of 2 beautiful girls, 2 and 4, one in preschool, one in daycare, there is no distance learning, okay? You still have employers who are not willing to be nimble, flexible with their employees. I have a concern. Have you heard from parents? Can you tell us a little bit about your re-entry back into school, perhaps even on a macro level, your concerns, and maybe back into how Windsor Public School System is responding?
So I'm hoping this doesn't backfire on me, but we here in Windsor have not had a bunch of backlash. So
that's good. Windsor is a great town. Windsor is a great town.
Look, I'd be lying if I told people I didn't love it. I couldn't even fake it. So yeah, I just sent a message out, my first communication of this school year to my families, letting them know the first day of school and, what's going on, the mask situation. But no, I have not been inundated with anyone about masks at all. And I thank God for that. And I hope that doesn't change. And I've had 1, maybe 2 inquiries, and they were very nice and polite about distance learning. And we were like, no, it's just not going to be an available option unless, of course, you have, certain stipulations in an IEP or a 504 plan. And I just haven't had folks. I believe the majority of students and families are trying to grasp some sense of normalcy, if I can put it that way. And coming, we functioned all summer, right? So this is the thing that I'll say to people, not as superintendent, but I know people never separate you from your role. But as I've, moved around this summer, been in different places with my family, I've been in a couple other states this summer, taking time off. People are out at restaurants, people are at ballparks, people are out at the park, people are just outside, they're everywhere. And so I'm hoping folks aren't going to all of a sudden come and attack schools, right? Which I feel so many different issues come to schools, to our doorstep. And it's we're like the we're supposed to be the panacea for society. And I reject that notion, wholeheartedly. So we are a part of society. So, I just think you do what you need to do,
Yeah.
That's, as I always say, I'm gonna do what's in the best interest of my students and my staff. That's right. My task, right. The leader, and that's the fight that I'm gonna put up. And I'm going down as a true soldier, as we were taught in the Army. I'm going down for my cause. Like, this is, you hired me to take care of these students and the staff. And so I'm gonna do what's in their best interest. Doesn't mean every staff member or every student, necessarily wants to do it the way I'm saying. Like, we're coming back to school 5 days a week. I know there are some people who've also inquired about, why are we doing 5 days a week? Because that's what I think is best for students.
Hello.
So you don't have to agree. And I'm a superintendent. I think people are already getting used to it, but they knew it when I was vice principal, assistant soup. They knew me. There was, like, Terrell has no problem writing an email back saying, hey, I appreciate your concern, but this is what we're going to do. Like,
Dr. Hill, right. I, having watched you from afar, have seen you literally work your tail off at every single step of the way, opening your own school, working with teachers. I mean, just literally working your way, for me, to the top. You're not done yet, so you'll be a commissioner one of these days, Secretary of Education. Let's keep pushing. But you're also very passionate about this idea of recruiting, retaining, training teachers of color and also administrators. So you are the founder and president of this organization, Black. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and how important that work is, really quickly? I mean, we got a couple more minutes before we wrap it up.
Look, I got my elevator speech for Black. It's okay. You already said it, and I'll remind people, because it's for the break, Black Leaders and Administrators Consortium Incorporated. So we are fully incorporated, not just throwing a name out there, and we are a full-fledged 501c3. So you can feel free to make donations. This came out of my dissertation work. My study was on the career paths of Black and white superintendents, and I looked at Massachusetts and Connecticut, and I saw that out of over 500 superintendencies in these little states combined, there were only 6 Black superintendents. 6.
Wow.
I didn't discriminate against my Latino brothers and sisters, but you have to focus on an area. My committee was like, Terrell, you can't study everyone. But the numbers were no different from my Latino brothers and sisters. So it's the same thing. So it's like, how in the world are we going to school, getting the same training, the same degrees, the same licenses, but we can never seem to crack that executive position? Because call it what you will, the superintendent position is the CEO of the corporation. And so we can never seem to quite get there. And no one seemed to be making any noise about it. And I was like, what's going on here? And it's not like every one of these white superintendents were in their first superintendency. Many of them have been bumped and moved around and jumped around. We still waiting in line like, hey, can I get a shot? Right? So that's why the title of my dissertation is Get In Where You Fit In. So get the spot where you can, but then the way I operate in life is put your foot in the door. So Black is an organization putting its foot in the door and standing up and advocating for other folks of color to get opportunities that they wouldn't normally get. Because we've never worked as a collective voice. We've always operated in silos and individually, and the strength of personality. I know I got a strong personality. I'm not shy, I'm not afraid. I had a tough mom, I was in the military. So I'm gonna go anywhere on the planet and I'm gonna make my way, period. I know me. But there are many other people who are very talented, but that's just not their personality. So not only does their race play against them, but then their personality trait can play against them. So I want an organization that can advocate. We can provide training. COVID hit in the middle of our second year, but we still are we're over 80 members alone here in Connecticut. And, we're growing and we're going to get the message out. We're dealing with the pandemic, but folks are understanding there's a benefit to being a part of this collective. So much so I know you politicians have noticed the organization. The State Department of Ed has noticed the organization. Our now Secretary of Education, he knows the organization very well. So we're just trying to do our best. And we're trying to work with other organizations like CALAS, for us to collectively come together to understand that we need to be seen, heard, and given real opportunities to move in this field.
So for a lot of our folks who are tuned in, and thank you so much for tuning in, is CALAS the sort of Latino version of Black? superintendents and
I don't
administrators?
I don't want to take any juice from anybody, right? Because I want none of my brothers and sisters coming for me. CALAS is actually, ALAS is a national organization. Okay.
Got it.
So CALAS is the Connecticut chapter, and that chapter started in 2015 here in Connecticut.
Okay.
But ALAS was already established. So that organization.
So that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah. So we're just trying to.
That's what's up.
Yeah, we're working.
Where can folks actually find more information and to be a part of this movement in different states? I mean, we've got folks tuned in throughout the country, internationally as well. So how does this work? How can people get in touch with you?
I'm looking forward to spreading the word and moving through each state. Or I'm looking to basically say, I tell people I want to be like the NAACP or Urban League of, Black leaders. So we can start chapters in every state. So they go to the website and search Black. The key is don't put the K on the end. Some people see me with the gear I was wearing in Jamaica. They look like, did he misspell Black? No, we didn't misspell it. It's Black Administrative Consortium. So our logo is BLAC. So if you go to blackleaders.org, you can find us very easily on the web. We're not something hard to find. And there's information there, mission and vision, and you can also sign up. If you're interested in potentially starting a chapter in your state, you have my contact information to speak with me and our executive board, and we can take that up. We have our bylaws laid out. We are official. We are an official, like I said, 501c3. You can search the federal roles. We real. I'm all business.
Well,
I'm majored in business, so it's going to be business.
That's first. Your thing. That's it. Dr. Hill, man, I can't thank you enough for taking a little bit of your time to come on inside the room to share with us your work. If there's one thing that you can share with Black administrators or those folks who are in the education space and they're wanting to grow, what is that one piece of advice or wisdom that you could share with them right now?
Don't always wait for someone to give you an opportunity to demonstrate your leadership or your abilities. You make your own opportunities and you put in that work. And of course, in our field, you're doing it for the best interest of children. People are going to notice.
Wow. So again, if you just tuned in, you were listening to Dr. Terrell Hill, school superintendent here in the state of Connecticut for the Windsor Public School System, founder and president of Black. You already know that's BLAC without the K, y'all. If you want to find out some more information. Dr. Hill, thanks for joining us, and we hope to have you come back soon. Y'all keep it locked. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Takeover with your girl, Shay McCray, here on FUBU Radio. And if you just now tuning in, I'm sitting here with State Representative Brandon McGee Jr. Look, I always like to play with him with his name and stuff. Sorry, Brandon L. McGee Jr. Okay, and he's doing his thing. And
how you doing? Okay.
Look, and the young man you just had phenomenal, speaks very well. He know what he doing, huh?
Oh yeah. Daniel White, man, is just one of those emerging leaders among his group of folks, and he's just doing some amazing work. But it's always great to hear directly from our students, no matter what grade they're in, whether high school, middle school, or college. They have something to say. So we're really glad that he was able to join us inside the room today.
Yeah, a lot of depression going on with the students this past year. A lot more. The depression rate has went up, especially among the children. Now, here's another thing. We talked about mask mandates and things that has been in place, and we know one of the things that has been in place was the eviction bans that they couldn't evict any tenants due because of the pandemic. Well, the CDC eviction ban has ended by the Supreme Court. Okay, it looks like on the 26th they ended the ban on eviction, putting millions at risk right now. And I'm not gonna lie, I know some people might have been taking advantage of everything, and so, but there are people who really don't have the funds because their pay has dropped. They're without jobs. As many still say there's still jobs out there, but not, in my eye, from what I see, is not enough to still cover financial of these people's homes, from what I hear. Well, apparently, everyone remember back in March, the Congress passed the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act, which was not approved by the president. It was passed by the CDC. And this is one of the reasons why the Supreme Court pushed it back, because they said, hold up, this could only be passed by the president. How was the CDC? And then we sit here and ban evictions. This is why. So Biden administration tried to go in and of course get this act approved, and they pushed it back again. They said, no, it's too late. I guess there were some questions on why would the Supreme Court do this? You know what I'm saying? I know one of the questions that was out there is how many people are affected. Nearly 8 million households are affected right now. Okay. What happened next? Tenants in a handful of states and cities, including New York, California, are still protected by local eviction bans that remain in effect. So they're still protected on a local level. But
well, let me jump in. So one of the things I do on the state level here as a legislator is I'm the chair of the housing committee.
Oh, wow.
And one of the things, so a few weeks ago, we talked a little bit about the moratorium that was basically going to end. And you had Representative Cori Bush, Black female from where George Floyd is from. And we applaud her for her strong leadership and grassroots activists she drew attention to the urgent need to extend the eviction moratorium. With major success, it was extended, meaning those renters who are unable to pay their rent, they are covered by the federal law. Unfortunately, on the state level, those laws don't cover a lot of folks within our own respective states. So now you see an increase of eviction proceedings beginning to happen. What's also important to note, here in the state of Connecticut, we're the third state to pass a law that basically says every person who is unable to afford legal representation will have a right to what we're calling the right to counsel. It's a law that I passed here in Connecticut that will help both the landlord as well as the tenant. But there are millions, as you've already said, Shay, there are millions across this country who will be impacted, essentially being evicted. But everything that you said in terms of the CDC and the president and all those folks, they're fighting back and forth. But we need a moratorium, and I'm saying a moratorium until this pandemic has gone by. we gonna move right along because I know you have a guest with you, but I hear you and I'm totally in agreement with you, especially to those who really need it. But what about those landlords, those homeowners who are not, they have to continue to pay their bills as well. That's right.
Who are protecting them? Why isn't there a law or an act out there to help get them to be covered or protected from the banks and so forth?
There is. So the federal government provided trillions with the T, trillions of dollars to states to provide monies to landlords and tenants. Here in Connecticut, it's called Unite CT.
Oh.
Tenants could literally apply to receive these dollars up to about $15,000. The money does not go to the tenant, it goes directly to the landlord so that the landlord can pay the mortgage.
Okay.
Likewise, with those who are homeowners and they have single family homes and they can't meet the mortgage, they could have their mortgages deferred. The tricky part in this is whether or not it's one of those banks or financial institutions that the state oversees. So you have private banks like Bank of America. What's the one with the W? Oh, Lord. Wachovia or Wells Fargo. Those private banks, we have no control over.
Gotcha.
So you're finding a lot of states and basically in fights with these banking institutions because they're like, give me my money. We know you have it. And when in fact they don't. People don't have the money. So there are resources, but because this is the first of its kind, it's so much money, there are no systems in place. Folks are having a hard time getting access to the funds.
Wow. Well, thank you for getting us a little closer insight on that, B, because it is confusing for a lot of the. Not only is it confusing for the tenants, but even more confusing for the landlords, because I hear homeowners has lost their homes and they're even homeless because they can't gain access back into their own homes. So I appreciate that. But you have a guest. Let's go ahead and introduce our guest.
I do. So again, as students, families are preparing for the first day of school in some places. Some others have started last week. We have none other than Dr. Terrell Hill, who is the superintendent, the first African-American to serve in this position right here in the state of Connecticut. And he represents the Windsor Public School District. So he's going to talk about some challenges. He's going to talk about the preparation they took to prepare for our students. And he also has an organization that he co-founded called BLOC, BLC, and it's Black Leaders Administrators, Consortium, Inc. And the purpose of it is to recruit Black and brown folk, specifically Black people, to serve in more of these higher administrative positions. So we're so glad to have him inside the room with us.
All right, well, let's get right into it. You guys keep it locked. All right. Welcome back to the Takeover with your girl, Shay McCray, as we are still inside the room with State Representative Brandon McGee. B, that is an amazing interview. And I'm appreciative of those leaders who are taking, this serious and helping to protect our loved ones while they're out there in their hands, because you have to have a plan. And a lot of people are blindsided by this thing. I'm not gonna lie. I believe even the government is. So, hey, if you could control it within your own community, that was an amazing thing. So I appreciate you for having Superintendent
Dr. Hill.
Yes. I appreciate
I'm just really appreciative of his leadership as well. And promoting and advocating for the career progression of Black leaders by providing training, mentoring, networking opportunities, and, in return, increasing the number of Black leaders, the social capital of Black leaders, and creating a community through which Black leaders can share best practices. So if you want to learn more about what Dr. Hill is doing beyond his primary job as a superintendent of the Windsor Public School System, you can go to his website, blackleaders.org, and it's BLC. You're going to drop the K.
Okay.
blackleaders.org to find or learn more about how to join the movement. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Hill, for your support.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yes. Yeah. So we still have more before our troops come home. What's the update with that? What's going on, B?
Yeah, so last week Shay and I unpacked what we needed to know about Afghanistan and the Taliban taking over. We know that today you should have received an alert that the final our troops are finally coming home. They're making their final flight here, but what we're uncovering thus far is that 13 U.S. service members were killed and 18 were injured in an attack at the airport there at Kabul's airport. The head of the U.S. Central Command Center, that's what they, basically what they shared with us. More than 170 people were killed and at least 200 were wounded. And this is coming by way of an official with the Afghanistan's Ministry of Public Health. They shared with, and I'm getting a lot of this information from CNN. In addition, what we should know is that the attack that happened comes as the U.S. and other countries are basically trying to get the hell up out of there. They're evacuating people ahead of President Biden's August 31st withdrawal deadline. So I think they're going to meet that deadline. But meanwhile, as they're leaving, there are a lot of people that are still there, losing their lives. And it's really unfortunate what's happening, but I'm glad that we're able to take our troops from Afghanistan.
Yes, I did see a picture of a soldier, one of our soldiers holding even a baby who was killed during the attack. Yes, a newborn baby. It looks like 6 months. So it's I just pray that everyone get out of there safe and we bring our troops home.
And praying for those families who lost a loved one, like our service members. They will always be remembered as our heroes, and they lost their lives. So my heart and my thoughts are with their families, especially today. They too have made what we call the ultimate sacrifice. So just put that out there. Yeah.
Well, another prayer is up for those who are in New Orleans for Hurricane Ida. Looks like it definitely brought back some horrible memories. I'm not sure if you're aware, but this was the 16th anniversary from Hurricane Katrina, when we lost millions to this particular hurricane. And I know a lot of people was going through it because of it, seriously. So I am in prayers of those. It did not happen as bad as Hurricane Katrina. We do have reports where it left one dead and a lot of flooding in a lot of homes right now. It was a category 4. So it looks like they said the worst part of it has passed already, and it's like going towards Mississippi right now. But listen, I'm just happy they was able to keep it under control this particular time. But it was the reporter for me. Did you see the reporter out there with the Gus?
Was it Al Rucker?
Yes.
He's and oh my God. And I think the commentary was, "You too old," and he had a little clapback moment.
Goodness.
He was like, "I'm never too old for this," but he was out there reporting, doing
but
his thing.
I love it. You got to do what you got to do to get the story. So again, prayers out to those families who are suffering from a lot of damages from their homes, their floods. From what I hear, the water is up to the ceiling, to your chest, up to the ceiling. So
it's sort of like what happened in Hartford, believe it or not. A few days ago, we had Hurricane Henry or whatever it was. It wasn't that much, but what happened, the water pressure basically on Tower Avenue, you're familiar with these streets, Shay.
Of course,
Tower Avenue and Main Street, it was up to like our waist and higher. Okay. And that wasn't recorded, but it was really bad. And again, global warming is real.
It's real.
And I think we're going to invite somebody on to talk about global warming and its impact on communities across this country. So again, like you said, prayers out to those families in New Orleans. And it sounds like you've been traveling as you started earlier during the show. Listen. And I got to get you like you got me the other week when I had my little sniffles.
Listen, you're not
are you
gonna
okay?
Do me. You're not gonna do me. I just got off the plane, and for some reason I always have sinus issues like an hour or two off the plane. So this will subside in about an hour or two. So don't do me, okay? We're not doing that. Yes, I have sinuses, all right. But look, it's like it seems like since COVID hit, it's like no more sinuses. Nobody suffers from sinuses anymore. Look,
yes, we do.
And I'm one of them, okay? So but I feel like we're covering nothing but sad stuff, especially the story I'm about to get into next. I want to send prayers and our love to Nene Leakes. Apparently there's a video going around. She's talking about her husband is at home dying. He's transitioning to the other side. And if those who do not know, he's been battling cancer for a while now. So I think a couple years now. So
because he was in remission for a little while and then he came back.
Yes. So let's send some love to them. But can we leave out on a better note? Like what we got? Nothing but bad news. What's going on?
Well, Kanye finally dropped his
that's
album.
good news. That's good news. Is that good?
So. I think so. I mean, the long-awaited Donda,
right?
But there was a lot of talk, y'all, about this album, and I'm trying to follow the trends on social media. Some people were like, we were left out, and then the back and forth between Chris Brown and Kanye.
Yes. He said he took his verse off the one of the songs. And apparently, I don't think Kanye approved even the release. Universal leaked the whole album from what I hear. Yes.
Serious?
Yes. So shout out to them.
You think Kanye will come on our show? We got to get him to come on our show.
Come on our show. What show? Mm-hmm. He probably go on CNN. He ain't not gonna come on here now. We do got to get him to come on the show.
For us, by us. Come on,
right?
Kanye.
Come on, Kanye. Donda. Donda. Look.
That's the chant. Donda.
Yes.
Donda.
Donda. Like, it's
Donda.
crazy. But
it's kind
yes.
of spooky. But shout out to his mom, who was just absolutely amazing. But, you know, it's very different. Like, this is different. It's like, no.
It's like a cult, okay? But what I will shout out Kanye for, he is a marketing genius. We got to give it to him. We got to give it to him.
He is a beast. And I am just so, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy he finally, well, they made him. But he shared his album. One other thing, Shay, and I think this should be one of our interviews. I don't know, one of these shows. We got to talk a little bit more about the census and.
Oh yeah, you were supposed to. I thought about that last week. I said you said he was going to talk about the census. Yeah. We'll get into that next week.
Yeah, next week, because I think it's important that we talk through gentrification, re-gentrification of our communities, and what Black and brown people are doing to buy back our communities and create communities. I know right there in Atlanta it's happening. Yeah, so we could talk a little.
Trying to buy back.
Oh, you're doing it.
I'm trying. I'm like, you know what? Let me do this.
But anyway, until next time, y'all know I love you. Y'all can follow me on Instagram _BLMJ. You can catch me on Twitter at @RepBMcGee, and also on YouTube and Spotify. That is Inside the Room with Brandon McGee. All right.
You make sure you guys go ahead and like us on Facebook and follow us, Official FUBU Radio, on Instagram, and follow me, Shay McCray. All right. We appreciate you guys for tuning in each and every week here Inside the Room with State Representative Brandon McGee. All right. It's the takeover, baby.
Love y'all.